Welcome back. We are here at South by Southwest at the American Cities House, hosted by TechCo and the Kauffman Foundation. I'm Jade Floyd from the Case Foundation, and we are wrapping up the day with a dynamic entrepreneur, ecosystem builder, and startup champion. Well, Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jade. Good to be here.
So I am just fascinated by your career journey. You have been obviously a startup founder. You have taken that and pivoted to the Vinetta Project, and now you're with Virtual Security. So walk me back, take me back in time and tell me, how you got to now and kind of what that entrepreneurial journey has looked like for you.
Yeah, short answer is I have no idea. I think when I was a little girl, my dad worked in the startup space. I remember we moved to Silicon Valley to do the whole .com boom thing, and I remember walking through his offices, through the cubicles at Netscape, and just feeling so inspired and entranced almost by the startup ecosystem and the vibe there. It was like this energy, electricity in the air, and I was always chasing that. So I graduated from college, fast forward a lot of years.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
Just a few.
Graduated from college, wanted to do law school. That did not work out. Pivoted into an energy startup in the DC area. And really just fell in love. I fell in love with the ecosystem, the people, the energy, with the idea of building something that previously had not existed. So I worked at an energy startup, had a successful exit, which was great. And
Congratulations on that.
Well, congratulations to the founders. And after that, I realized this is something that I want to own. This is something that I want to do myself.
Yes.
And so kind of while I was working at that startup, my roommates and I had been toying around with this project called the Offline Society. All of our friends were on the same dating apps, and they were having trouble meeting each other. It was like everyone was on the same app, the same website, but they couldn't connect.
Yes.
We had this big party in our house. Our friends came to the party, left with each other's numbers, and the next morning we were laughing about all these connections that had happened, and we realized that I think we were onto something. If you could just put all those people that were on the apps in the same room together, then that's all it took, is to see, okay, yes, I have a connection with that person. There's no swiping, there's no messaging, there's no awkward first dates. You just get right to it.
The seeds were planted.
Exactly. And also, sometimes you just don't know who you actually like until you see them in person. So the problem is converse. So the Offline Society was started in 2015, launched in DC, and grew to thousands of users, which was great. And during that time, I ran into some women who were starting the Vinetta Project in DC.
Yes, we love Vinetta.
Yes. So the Vinetta Project is an organization that connects female founders to startup capital. And so that seems kind of on its face like a very simple mission, very straightforward. Turns out it's not. There's a lot of before and a lot of after. Raising capital, as a lot of people here, on this conversation know, is very relationship driven, lengthy process, and a little complicated.
Especially for female founders and for entrepreneurs of color.
Exactly. And to that point, investing is a very subjective thing. It's an art, not a science. And people go with their gut. They go with their instinct. They know what, the pattern recognition, what they've seen before that's worked. And a lot of times that narrative doesn't include, founders of color, female founders,
LGBTQ,
exactly.
people outside of the Valley in New York and Boston, where typically all of venture capital is flowing.
Exactly. And so what we do is I know there are a lot of platforms out there that use technology, and by we, I mean the Vinetta Project. There are a lot of platforms out there that use technology and kind of scale a solution to this problem, and those are great, and we work in coordination and conjunction with those. But what we do is on a very local, organic level. We think it's all about relationships. Investing is about relationships, therefore the Vinetta Project is about relationships. So we find founders, we find investors, and we try to help them build relationships through one-on-one connections, event programming, dinners, etc. Just the normal way that you get to know somebody.
And you take a lot of the lessons that you learned as a founder and working for a number of startups And that's how you really inject into the program the things that you think will be most beneficial to these entrepreneurs who are going through the pipeline, correct?
Exactly. It's a very unique experience. First of all, starting a company and raising money for that company and being a female founder.
Yes.
Or an underrepresented founder in general. And the Vinetta Project for me, while I was running the Offline Society, was just completely invaluable. Those relationships that I formed on the investor level, the corporate leader level, and the founder level are still with me today and some of my best friends, because it's such a grueling experience. You need that camaraderie, and just like any founder needs that. So what we're doing is not really specific to female founders. It's really specific to founders in general, but women founders, there are so few of them.
Yes.
And so connecting them is even more important, to say, yes, there's somebody who, looks like you, who likes, the same things you like, has the same struggles you have, and y'all can raise capital together and be a support system, make introductions, open doors. You're in this together.
So we talked a little bit about your path as an entrepreneur, your path as an ecosystem builder. Talk to me now about your current place where you are working with Virtual Security, DC-based company. Tell me about the company and the role there that you're playing now.
Right. Well, just like all roads lead to Rome, it seems like all paths in my life lead back to the Vinetta Project, so including virtual security. So at the end of last year, I decided that the Offline Society just was not growing like I wanted it to. Really expensive business school tuition, you could say.
Yeah, but that happens so often for entrepreneurs. It's the art of the pivot.
Yes, exactly. So I made a life pivot, and I decided to take all those lessons learned and apply them towards something that I was really interested and passionate about learning about, which was the security space. I felt like there was so much happening with technology and the progression of technology, yet every day you saw, this company is hacked, this company is hacked. Founders I knew, my peers, were really confused about security. I'm reading this headline. What do I do with my app? What about my thousands or millions of users? How do I protect them? I have no idea. And virtual security helps them protect their users and their users' data without having to become an expert in security. So just kind of like Squarespace let any person build a website, we let any person build security tools.
Nice. So what's next? What's next on your agenda of life to-dos? Because it's been a fulfilled life, definitely.
Yes, definitely. I don't know. And I think some of my friends and, a lot of people in this world like to have a very linear path with their life, and they like to know what's happening next, and they know that their mortgage is going to be paid. And that's just not really a gene that I have. So I don't really know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years, and I don't really think that I want to know.
That's great. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy South by Southwest plans. We know you have a lot going on, a lot of meetings, and we're just so thrilled that you could join us for our final few segments of the show. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in from the TechCo House. We'll be back in a few minutes.